Prepare for battle.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Information Warfare. I am Chang-Ray, and this is a replay. This is not me playing, and the reason it's not me playing is because for this video I'm kinda gonna have to focus and not ramble, which I'm very good at. The reason for that is I want to talk about hero selection. Because you see, in any MOBA, your enjoyment of the game starts and ends with your hero. Get the right hero, and I can virtually guarantee you will have fun. Get the wrong one, and you're gonna have the worst experience of your life.
30
I'm
seconds
just
to
gonna put it
battle.
to directed camera. Let it handle its thing. Today I'd like to talk about the types of heroes and their roles. Because if you're going to play against other people, they're going to shout at you if you don't know these things. So in MOBAs there are a series of different roles. The main idea between these roles is to give each hero
begins.
a specific role in the battlefield and a specific task to complete. The main ones you're going to hear are carry, support, jungler. Now obviously within these areas, within these three are a huge variety of things you can change and do. But I want to start by talking a little bit about support. In order to do that, we're gonna go on player's perspective. And let's grab Crystal Maiden. Crystal Maiden is known as a support. The task of a support is probably the simplest in terms of understanding it, because your job is quite simply to support your team. Support heroes have access to things like heals, they have access to slows on the enemy to slow the enemy down, reduce their attack, increase the armor of your team, things that aid your team. Now if you take a look at Crystal Maiden, she has Crystal Nova, which is a minor attack, does a little bit of damage, but it slows enemy movement and attack rate. So enemy heroes move slower, attack slower, so they do less damage, and they can't, for example, escape. This makes them very useful, because it means that people can't really get away when she's around, because their movement speed is going to be reduced. We have Frostbite, in case it's an enemy unit, and Ice, prohibiting movement and attack while dealing damage. So that's just a flat out stun, like they can't do anything, they can't move, they can't avoid anything.
Radiant's bottom tower.
This
is under
very
attack.
well shows the role of a support, because the support is specifically there to make the team look good. He or she is not going to get a lot of kills, they're not going to get a lot of creeps, they're not going to get all the advantages, they're not going to get a hell of a lot of money. What they are going to do is they're going to get assists, and they're going to facilitate kills for their team. So let's say you have a big stun. You pop that on, let's say, the enemy's lead hero. He doesn't participate in the fight for the first 4 seconds. You nuke one of his friends. Now suddenly it's a 4 on 5.
Bottom tower is under attack.
This gives you a greater advantage than you would have otherwise had, and could potentially let you win the fight with the title. What we're seeing here is Loda on the horse, using a stun persistently to do damage and to get into combat. He has a stun, but it does not make him a support hero. Support heroes generally have a larger amount of these abilities,
Dire's top tower
or
is under attack.
they are otherwise built to help support it. Now in this case, Crystal Maiden is quite slow, doesn't have a lot of health, doesn't have a lot of armor, but almost all of her abilities supply her with a bonus. So you have an aura, a mana regen aura, you have a stun, you have a slow, and you have an ultimate that again slows enemies. Every one of her abilities either debuffs, so it reduces the strength of enemy heroes, or increases the strength of her allies. Obviously, some heroes, in some cases, supports can have direct attack abilities or abilities that don't support, but that is generally what you're going to expect. So what we just saw there was the Nova attacking, and then the enemy hero could not escape quick enough, so he had to fight. Now, as it transpires, he escapes anyway, but that is the basic role of a support. A good support will let your teams handle fights they could not otherwise have taken. And more importantly, they will aid your carry and ensure that he does not have to return to base, waste time on picking stuff up, and in general work hard. Like, he can just grow fat and grow powerful like he has to. Speaking of carries, Loda's one of the best. The game we're actually looking at right here is one of the final games at last year's International. And the reason I selected this is because this is probably some of the highest level play you're going to see at all. And obviously there's a lot going on screen and I can't tell you all of it. What I wanted to show you was just how some of the best can play their classes, their roles. In this case, Loda is taking the role of the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight has a stun, if you've seen, and a lot of direct damage. So I wanted to talk about carries. The carry as a name doesn't make a lot of sense to new players. Because the support is like, okay, he supports. What does a carry do? A carry actually carries. The basic idea is the carry is capable of carrying his team on his back because he is so much powerful than any other. To a quite often ridiculous degree. Like, his task is to be the one that does the damage and kills the enemy. Because that means the carry gets all the kills, all the points, a lot of assists, and they will also in a lot of cases get all the glory. Personally, I find a good carry to be less important than a good support, because a really good carry can compensate for a bad team, but a good support can do the same. A good support can turn a bad carry into a passable one. A really good carry can never turn a bad support into a good one. But a good support will be the key to the fight. As long as he's kept healed up, as long as he is stunned, he will be the one that does a lot of damage. Now obviously there are heroes that are built not as carries, but simply as damage dealers. These generally termed assassins. But I'm not talking about those right now, I'm talking about carries. As I mentioned, carries will be getting all of the glory, they get all the girls, they get all the happiness. The thing is, carry is a really stressful role. If you ever played an MMO, you know how playing the tank can be. It is you doing all the work, or it feels that way at least. And in the same sense, the carry has to be on top all the time. Literally all the time. Because if he falls behind, the entire team falls behind. Whereas if the support falls behind, they still have the abilities to fall back on in those cases. They won't need those things. That's not the privilege of carry. So only play a carry if you really want to be the center of attention. And only play a carry if you're okay with always being the center of attention, and always. And I do mean always being the one that works hard to get there. A lot of people play carry simply because it's glorious. I disagree with that idea. I really do.
Radiant's top
I think
tower
you're better
is under
off
attack.
playing a carry if you actually want to be... If you like doing damage, not if you want sort of the glory of it. Support, on the other hand, is very much a case of... I don't care about kills, I don't care about assists, I care about the win. That is very much my philosophy, and you can say support all the
Radiant's
time.
top tower has fallen.
But what other roles are there? I mentioned jungler. Jungler is not Tarzan, although he can sometimes seem that way. The jungler is, for an example, this guy, Enigma. In just about every game of in every MOBA game you can imagine, there are these creep camps. Now these creep camps represent extra cash and extra income, extra XP. Their task, or their role, is for the jungler to kill these camps. This means that the jungler isn't taking up experience in the 3 lanes. Instead, he's using the entire rest of the map to facilitate his levels. This is generally more effective than having 2 heroes and 2 lanes and 1 in the middle. Because the 3rd hero, or the 5th hero there, as you're seeing here, can farm relatively safely in his own area. He is very vulnerable to ganks because he's always running around on the zone. But he is also the person that will kill heroes. Because one of his roles, beyond killing jungle creeps, as he's doing right now, is to notice if there's an opportunity in the lanes. Say a hero is at low health and hasn't ported out, his task is to maybe run around into the enemy jungle and then ambush this hero. Come in as a surprise, fire off a big ability and launch an attack that kills it. He is generally going to keep pace with carries and other people, and he's going to be more powerful than supports because he has all of these creep camps to himself. But he is more important in the laning phases than later on, because later on XP comes from all of these huge team fights that are occurring, and less from camps. But a solid jungler in the beginning can do a lot of damage and can kill heroes very quickly, providing your carry, your middle lane, and so on with assists and valuable money. Beautiful kill, that one. And the stun, will I take it? No.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The jungler's role is always going to be a little funny, because his skills are very much suited to killing NPCs. Like, he is a PvE, if you understand the meaning of that word, player. He plays against the computer more than people, while the carry, the support, the middle lane, they're all focused on dealing with heroes as well as these regular monsters that come. The jungler 9 times out of 10 is just going to be murdering stuff in the jungle. A bad jungler will stay there until the end of time, just leveling up, not really doing anything. A good one will recognize when he needs to help in team fights, and will move to engage weakened heroes. In this case, Enigma's doing this. He's doing a good job.
Radiant's bottom tower.
These are the 3 main heroes. The jungler. Select the jungler if you're a bit of a lone wolf, if you prefer to do things kind of your own way and in your own style. And also if maybe all of that laning stuff and playing against other people and so on is less attractive than just outright killing creeps and just building yourself at your own pace. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the jungler. Now, each of these roles will, in a good game of MOBA, in a good game of, for example, Dota 2, as you're
Dire's
seeing
middle
here,
tower is
they will
under
play their
attack.
specific roles. Obviously, that's generally not going to happen, because a lot of people are really, really bad at it, me included. So, always make sure that you're ready to fulfill your role, but always make sure that you're ready to be flexible. Simply put, if your carry isn't doing a good job, and is, for whatever reason, just not working out, then it's recommended that somebody who knows how to be a carry does it and carries. There's no guarantee it'll be very useful, but it'll be a lot more effective than if you don't do anything.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
At the same time, roles in MOBA games are kind of malleable, so you can switch them around if needed.
Dire's
But a
middle
hero
tower
that is a
under
dedicated
attack.
support can never become a really good carry. So like Crystal Maiden, even if you were to stack attack damage on her, or
Radiant's bottom tower is under
similar
attack.
whatever other stats would make a good carry out of her, she could become passable. She is never going to be a good carry. A
Dire's
good
middle
carry
tower
is
is under
built
attack.
to be a carry. A good mid laner is built to be a good mid laner. They can do other jobs, but it is not something I would recommend in a serious game. These roles were put in place long ago, and you can expect, if you're going at it alone and don't have a team of friends who are just willing to just fool around with you, you should expect a lot of people to stick to these roles rigorously. And be aware that when they say, I will be carry, they are not going to do anything else. The support is expected to buy all the vision wards, the courier that helps you
Dire's bottom
deliver
tower is under
items.
attack.
Depending on the game, you have different versions of it. As well as the support items, such as heals. You can see Enigma currently has a mechanism.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's
All of
structures
these
are fortified.
are bought by supports
Dire's
in
bottom
serious
tower
games
is under
because
attack.
tunnel vision.
Radiant's top tower
It's a shame,
is
but
under
that's how it
attack.
is.
Dire's bottom
And
tower
as a consequence, the
has
support is quite often the one who will get yelled at.
Dire's bottom tower
Because
is
it's one of
under
the more
attack.
complicated roles where a lot of things are expected of you. The carry is just expected to carry. His job is to kill shit quickly. So, stack some hit points to survive, stack a lot of damage. Not so much for the support. The jungler is a bit of the middle road. He's a lone wolf. But because he's a lone wolf, he's also has a lot of freedom to move around, place down vision wards or traps,
Dire's middle
or
tower is under attack.
use utility items to healing items, or in this case you can see in the fourth slot of Enigma's
Dire's
inventory
middle
down on the
tower
right
has
hand side.
fallen.
He has what looks like a purple bomb. That's the smoke. When used, that can turn his entire team invisible. You just saw it there. If you can't see invisible characters and 3 people come up to you, that's a dead hero. Items like these are generally, you can generally expect them to be shared between the support and the jungler. The carry,
middle tower
he
is
has to
under
focus
attack.
on power, so these items are not ideal for them to buy. Beyond that, I'm not sure I have much else to say about the idea of roles in these games. What I will say is, not all heroes are relegated to one role. Your selection of a hero determines whether or not you have fun in your game. Some heroes have unique skill sets, or all heroes have unique skill sets. And the whole point of those is that each of them has a specific playstyle you must find. And if that playstyle matches you, then you're going to have a lot of fun. If not, not so much.
Dire's middle
This is an
tower
example
is
of
under
that.
attack.
Where you can click on Rubric. Rubric has a really interesting ultimate. It's called Spell Steal. It steals a spell from an enemy hero, letting him use any ability that they have used last.
Dire's middle tower is under
This could be anything from Constructive heal to one of the strongest ultimates of the game. Any number of things.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
However,
Recipes to try out. Lift up once more.
this gives him a very unique playstyle, because he has to focus more on enemy hero abilities than pretty much anyone else, because not only does he have to avoid them like all others,
Radiant's bottom
he also
tower
has to
is
know
under attack.
when to steal. So as you saw, he saw a stolen ability. In this case, he stole Reality Rift, which is a teleport to a random point along the line between the two of them. So you target someone, you get teleported somewhere within that area. You could do that, and you could select, let's say, within your max range, a friendly hero to get out of combat or any other ability. And that is kind of why Rubik is unique, because he steals enemy abilities. And this basically means that his playstyle is kind of dependent on the other heroes that you're fighting. So maybe he gets a big nuke, maybe he gets a heal, then he'd be a support more than anything else. Or maybe he just gets like a giant crowd control that stuns everyone. Could be any number of things. I was getting to ask it.
You never could keep a secret.
The point of bringing up Rubik is that each requires very specific sets of skills. Now, there are a lot of heroes. There are a lot of heroes in MOBAs. A lot of people will tell you that Dawngate or Smite are solid places to start your experience. Dawngate and Smite are both MOBAs with a unique twist. But they also have a bit of an issue in that, frankly, they don't have a lot of heroes. So your selection is quite limited. If you're looking to discover your playstyle, because generally when you find a hero that really you just mesh with it perfectly, you will know. It will be painfully obvious in the way you play the game, and just the way the whole process feels to you. Go play a little League of Legends. It has the largest hero selection of any MOBA game that is out there. A lot of that is obviously overlaps because the hero selection is kind of silly. But it also means you can find the hero that you genuinely like. Finding the hero you like is the most important thing in a MOBA. Screw micromanagement, screw junglers, screw carry, screw the support, screw Roshan, screw giant bats that poop fire. It's all about the heroes. It's all about the hero selection. Get the right hero. And I'm personally of the belief that just about any person can enjoy a MOBA. Against bots, maybe. You might not enjoy the screaming that occurs in public games. But just about anyone can enjoy a MOBA if you get the right hero. If you get the wrong one, it is probably one of the worst games that exists. So take a look at the different heroes. Find what you like. And I'll see you on the battlefield. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Cheng Rai. This is Information Warfare Dota 2 Edition Hero Selection. I'll see you next time.